Everyone knows a Gemini, the charming, witty, adaptable force of nature. The person who can talk to anyone about anything, whose mind moves like lightning, whose presence can light up a room. They are the social butterflies, the master communicators of the zodiac. But what happens when you hurt them? What happens when that bright, vibrant light is met with betrayal, with carelessness, with a deep emotional wound? That switch flips. The master communicator goes silent. The life of the party disappears, and you are left in a state of profound confusion, wondering what just happened. Today, we are going to decode that confusion. We are going to map out the 21 signs a Gemini is deeply hurt. And I promise you, one of them, a surprising, counterintuitive escape tactic most people never see coming, will fundamentally change the way you understand them. Why can I map this out for you with such certainty? My name is Anya Sage. I'm a psychological astrologer, and my work isn't just about star signs. It's about decoding the hidden emotional architecture that drives us. And a hurt Gemini has one of the most fascinating and misunderstood blueprints of all. So let's begin. Have you ever experienced this? You're in a wonderful, flowing conversation with a Gemini. The energy is sparkling, the jokes are landing, the connection feels real. And then, maybe you say one thing, one seemingly small thing, and suddenly, they go cold. The replies become one-word answers. Or worse, their playful jokes suddenly have a sharp, cutting edge you didn't see coming. This isn't them being moody. This isn't random. It is a distress signal. When a Gemini is hurt, their entire operating system changes. The code that governs their social, mental, and emotional life begins to glitch and rewrite itself in real time. To understand what's happening, you need the key. You need to see the first, most foundational changes that take place. I call them the 3 core shutdowns. These are the first things you will notice. The immediate, systemic response to a wound. The first is the social shutdown. Think of a Gemini's social energy like a high-capacity, fast-charging battery. It's what powers their charm, their wit, their constant communication. When they are hurt, it's as if that battery doesn't just drain. It's been short-circuited. It dies instantly. This is where you see sign 21. They become unusually quiet. The constant stream of texts, calls, and memes doesn't just slow down, it stops. The silence is the message. It's a silence so loud, so profound, it feels like a physical presence in the room. This leads directly to sign 20, where they actively avoid you. They might see your call and deliberately ignore it. They might change their route at work or school to avoid running into you. This isn't passive. It's an active strategy of creating distance. And when you do manage to pin them down, you'll be met with sign 13. Short, cold, one-word replies. Yes, no, fine. Each word is a brick being placed in a wall between you and them. Their gift of language is turned off. Finally, this extends into sign 15, where they begin to isolate themselves, even from their closest friends. They may love their inner circle, but the processing power required to pretend everything is okay is simply too much. The social battery is dead, and the charging port is broken. The second core shutdown is the mental escape. If a Gemini's mind is a supercomputer, a wound is like a virus. It opens 1,000 invisible tabs in their mental browser, all running a single program: replay the hurt. XE, this constant background processing makes everything else lag. It manifests first as sign 18. They become incredibly distracted. You'll be talking to them, and you can see it in their eyes. They are not there. They're replaying a conversation, analyzing a moment, trying to understand how the system failed. Their famous ability to multitask collapses into a single obsessive task of processing their pain. This mental drain leads to sign 16. They appear indifferent or apathetic. It's not that they don't care. It's that their entire emotional bandwidth is being consumed by the internal crisis. They don't have the energy left to care about your day, the new movie, or office gossip. The computer is lagging so badly that even the simplest programs won't run. And because they can't express this directly yet, you get sign 14, the cryptic social media post. A song lyric about betrayal, a vague philosophical quote about cutting ties. This is a pressure release valve. It's their mind unable to communicate directly, sending out a fragmented, encoded distress signal into the void, hoping someone, somewhere, will understand it without them having to say the words. The third core shutdown is the emotional roller coaster. This is perhaps the most confusing of the three. It's like a perfect, sunny day suddenly turning into a violent hailstorm without a single cloud in the sky. This is sign 12, rapid, unpredictable mood swings. In one moment, they might force a smile, tell a joke, and seem like their old selves. You feel a wave of relief. Then, an hour later, they are withdrawn, melancholic, and radiating a palpable sadness. This isn't them being fake. It's a genuine battle. It's the healthy part of their personality trying to reassert control, fighting against the tide of their hurt. They are trying to logic their way out of the emotion, to outthink the pain. And the sheer effort of this internal war creates these wild, exhausting fluctuations. 1 minute, they are convincing themselves they're fine. The next, they are drowning in the reality of the hurt. These three shutdowns, the social, the mental, and the emotional, are the foundation. They are the immediate aftermath, the initial state of shock and retreat. But these shutdowns, they are just the smokescreen. They are the passive response. Now we go deeper. Now we look at the active response. What happens when the initial shock wears off and the Gemini's formidable mind begins to build a defense? We're about to look at the actual bricks they use to build their fortress. These are their most powerful and often most misunderstood defense mechanisms. I call them the shields. First, and most famously, is the humor shield. A Gemini's wit is their superpower. When healthy, it's a tool for connection and joy. When hurt, it is weaponized. It becomes a razor-sharp shield. This is where we see sign 19 and sign 5, a dramatic increase in biting, cutting sarcasm. The playful teasing you once enjoyed is now laced with poison. Every joke has a passive-aggressive subtext. They aren't trying to be funny. They are using their humor to push you away, to show you their anger without having to state it plainly. It's a verbal fortress. Then it gets darker. This is sign 17. They start making dark jokes about the very thing that is hurting them. If they feel betrayed by a friend, they'll start joking about how loyalty is a myth or trust is for fools. This is a deeply unsettling coping mechanism. It's an attempt to cauterize the wound by ironically embracing it, to gain control over the pain by mocking it. They are standing in the fire, pointing at the flames, and laughing about how hot it is. It's a desperate act of intellectual self-preservation. When humor isn't enough, they deploy the chaos shield. This is a core principle you must understand. To a hurt Gemini, internal chaos feels unbearable. The solution? Create enough external chaos to drown it out. If your house is on fire, you stop worrying about the leaky faucet. This is where you see sign 9, sudden, shocking impulsiveness. They might abruptly quit their job. They might book a one-way ticket to a country they've never been to. They might get a radical haircut or a tattoo. From the outside, it looks like recklessness. From the inside, It is a calculated distraction. The adrenaline and logistical demands of a huge life change are a powerful anesthetic for emotional pain. This is supported by Sign 11. They seek endless distractions. They will fill every single second of their day. They'll work 16-hour shifts. They'll say yes to every social invitation, even from people they barely know. They will binge watch 3 seasons of a show in a weekend. The goal is simple: to leave no empty space, because in the empty space, in the silence, the pain is waiting. Their mind, which they normally trust above all else, has become a dangerous place, so they must keep it occupied at all costs. And now, we come to the sign I promised you, the most counterintuitive, the most misunderstood, and the most revealing shield of them all. The reinvention shield. Logically, when someone is deeply hurt and isolating, you'd think they would lock themselves away from the world. They'd want to be alone, to retreat into their shell. That is the expected behavior, but this is where you'd be wrong. This is where the Gemini mind pulls its most shocking move. Instead of simply isolating, a deeply hurt Gemini will often do the exact opposite. This is sign 2. They actively seek out new friendships and new environments. They don't just retreat from their current social circle. They attempt to reboot their entire social operating system. They will strategically and rapidly build a new life, a new world that has no connection to the source of their pain. Think about it. Have you ever seen a friend go through a devastating breakup or a falling out, and instead of just being sad, they suddenly join a new sports league, a book club, move to a new neighborhood, and within a month, their social media is filled with pictures of a brand new group of smiling friends you've never even heard of? That wasn't random. That was a strategy. That was a Gemini surgically removing a painful chapter of their life and beginning a new one from scratch. It's not about replacing you. It's about replacing the entire reality in which the hurt occurred. It is a profound and often successful act of psychological survival. Which of these shields have you seen a Gemini use, or maybe even used yourself? The sarcastic wit, the chaos of a sudden trip, or this total social reboot? Share your story below, because understanding these patterns is the first step to healing them. But what happens when even these shields aren't enough? What happens when the sarcasm is no longer satisfying, the distractions no longer distract, and the new life still feels haunted by the old one? What happens when the pain breaches all the walls and floods the fortress? That's when we arrive at the end of the road, the final fork. When all other defenses fail, a Gemini is left with only 2 moves on the entire chessboard. There is no middle ground. There is no compromise. There is only what I call the final choice: fight or flight. This is sign number 1, and it is 2 sides of the same deeply wounded coin. The first option is the fight, a direct, brutal, and often shocking confrontation. After weeks or months of silence, sarcasm, and avoidance, they will finally unleash everything. Every piece of hurt, every perceived slight, every bit of overanalyzed evidence they have collected will be presented to you in an unstoppable torrent of words. Their communication powers, which had been shut down, come back online with the force of a nuclear reactor. They will hold nothing back. They will tell you, in excruciating detail, exactly how and why you hurt them. This isn't done out of malice. It is a final, desperate attempt to make you understand the depth of their pain. It is a last-ditch effort to see if the connection is salvageable through radical, brutal honesty. But if they do the internal calculation, if they assess the situation and conclude that a confrontation is pointless, that you won't understand, or that the emotional cost of the battle is simply too high, they choose the second option, the flight, and this is the one that leaves the deepest scar. They disappear completely. They will ghost you with a finality that is chilling. No explanation. No goodbye. No dramatic confrontation. Just nothing. They will block your number, delete you from social media, and erase themselves from that part of their life, as if they were never there. This isn't a passive act. It's an active, strategic decision. It is the emotional equivalent of a surgeon amputating a limb to save the body. They have concluded that the source of the pain is incurable, and that the only way to protect themselves from further damage is to sever the connection. Completely and irrevocably, it is the ultimate act of self-preservation. Of fight and flight stem from the exact same place, a depth of hurt so profound that it forces an extreme, binary choice. The decision to confront is a sign that they, on some level, still believe the connection might be worth the fight. The decision to disappear is a sign that they have deemed their own emotional survival more important. So from the initial shock that leads to silence, to the construction of elaborate shields made of humor and chaos, all the way to this final, nuclear option of either total war or total retreat. We see the full journey. A hurt Gemini doesn't just get sad. They undergo a systemic, psychological transformation designed for one thing: survival. Understanding these signs, this predictable blueprint isn't about calling them out or labeling them as dramatic. It's a gift. It's a map to their vulnerability. It's a guide that allows you to see past the confusing surface and understand the profound pain that lies beneath. It's the key to knowing how to navigate a difficult, painful moment with a person whose mind and heart are more complex than most people will ever take the time to appreciate. If this helped you understand a Gemini in your life or even yourself, make sure to like and subscribe. It's the only way I know you want more content like this. And you know how it is. Videos like this that get this real can sometimes disappear. So be sure to save it so you don't lose it.